shards. There are some Maypul players who do just like to stay on the ledge and go for the consistent, ledge trapping itself rather than going off stage. And from what I remember, Lone tends to be the type of Maypul who will go further off stage. So we'll see whether or not Clairen actually gets to that wall.
Yeah, it's just like harder for Maypul to like intercept a recovery and go really deep out there for like a fair, because Clairen's up B is just so huge that it's gonna beat out Maypul every time.
Yeah, and honestly, the big thing that's a mark of whether or not you know the matchup is how consistently can you parry the Clairen up B, right? Sometimes it doesn't even really get you that much, but it just shows, yeah, I'm fully familiar with your timings. Oh, speaking of timings.
I don't see like a lot of people in general like parrying Clairen up B. That was a very strong start from RX though.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of timings, RX managed to get 3 F-Strongs in a row. Lone just had no way how to get past that, even with the tether.
Yeah, we'll see though. I know Lone likes using his tether very offensively. So if he can get RX off stage, that could be a way for him to get back into the game, get an early kill. This is kind of one of the percent ranges where Maypul is very comfortable with getting kills. Like the 46 into like a double fair off stage, for example.
In the meantime,
oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, but in the meantime, RX still managing to rack up so much damage here, just continuing to be able to dash back when Lone wants to dash in, able to wall out Lone's approaches, and it's getting harder and harder for Lone here.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
Kill. Jeez, this is rough for Lone. I know. The storyline with Lone is that he's been kind of a favorite to win like the past few R2ASs, but has been kind of stuffed out every time in Grands. Like first by LANCon a couple weeks ago, then Astra last week, making the losers run. So I don't know. I think like he really doesn't want it to be another heartbreaker. But
always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah. He's gonna have to work hard to prevent that happening right now because RX is playing on fire.
Yeah, but in the end, RX right now still sitting at 3 stocks, not gonna go down just yet. Down throw. And where's the tech chase? Not gonna find it. And RX is getting tipper after tipper. Lone is in huge trouble.
Yeah, this is
oh my god.
That's a 3 stock from RX. Who is this?
That's a 3 stock. All 3 of the stocks off the right side of the screen with that F-Strong. RX, I have no idea who you are, but dear lord, this is impeccable. The spacing is on point, the timing's on point as well, and this Clairen is just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, absolutely stellar advantage state and neutral play we're going on right now. Just perfectly walling Lone out, taking advantage of every single opening to get as much percent as possible. Squeezing it out. Let's see, Lone going to fire capital though. Large stage where Maypul can kind of outrun Clairen. We'll see how well that works out for him.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you're not going to be dying to the forward strong tippers at, 50. But I don't know, RX really needs to continue the same kind of play that they had in that first game if we want this Clairen to continue. But Lone, on the other hand, still just needs to keep his wits about him, find a way how to slow the pace of the game down, and change up the timings, because RX has consistently been punishing Lone's approach timings. It's not the positioning, it's not the option, it's the timings themselves.
Yeah, that is very true. I think it could be good for Lone to just not approach too. Just take this lead. You might even get a kill here, but doesn't seem to be the case. But just take the lead, stop engaging, because it's not like Clairen has a projectile to contest Maypul here.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have the percent lead, you don't have to go on in, and oh my lord, I guess you do.
Yeah, there's the mark double fair. Lone's signature. Oh, but the tipper the F-Strong in response. This is close. Does make it back to stage. That was looking like a very dangerous situation for Lone, but now sitting still comfortably with the lead. and able to rack up extra credit, whereas before he was never in the lead at any point.
Yeah, definitely looking very different from the last game. The only thing that's remaining the same is the fact that people are dying off the right side of the screen, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon here. One more F-Strong to send Lone off stage once again, and RX might be a little bit too far in.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, follows up with the mistech with a great F-Strong though. Perfect response. But
Okay, I don't know what's
may
up
have
with
to
the right
escape
side
it.
of the screen. Like, someone get the magnet out of there. Like, it's just eating up everyone's stocks at this point. RX, on the other hand, still able to keep up that pressure, but Lone holding on to this lead for dear life.
Yeah, I mean, it is looking more even now at least. But since Mark is applied to RX, that double fair can come out at any time. Lone just has to maneuver into the right position. Ooh, but RX fencing a little bit. And oh my
wow.
god! Insane tipper. That was a great setup into it.
Yeah, incredible setup into that one, and Lone no longer to be able to hold on to that lead that he had at the very beginning. RX just able to wrestle it back each and every time, but here comes the strings. Lone not taking any percent, and tether fair to start things off, but no tech chase.
Yeah, probably fishing for the mistech, but was not able to follow up. Ooh, great use of Bear to get back on stage there, though. I know RX was charging that F-Strong in the hopes that he can land it like before. Rinse and repeat a little edge guard.
Yeah, there's so much of this tether fair coming in from Lone, but unfortunately a lot of it is sending RX onto the stage itself, and Lone still just needs to find a way how to take RX off the top, off the bottom, off the side, any which where, but right now it's just a matter of just getting that opening.
Yeah, I know Lone doesn't really mind the tether fair on stage a lot of time, because he usually does like get it onto a platform and something and hit those tech chases. They're just not really working out this game.
Yeah, right now we're seeing the back airs come on through, trying to get that first initial hit, but now Lone off stage gets the tether F-Strong, but
Ooh,
yeah,
and
just like
level
that.
too low? Yeah. Wow. RX taking game 2 again pretty dominantly. Like Lone managed to figure it out for a little bit at the start, but RX just recovered so fast.
Yeah, I mean, and Lone, once again, in a rough position here. A lot of the times when we do see Lone on stream, it's coming in from, into Grants, but right now it's a question of whether or not Lone's actually going to end up making it. RX is playing extremely well on that Clairen, almost medicinal even, to see just how everything is spaced properly.
Yeah, I mean, that is really the core of playing Clairen. Spacing everything so that your opponents have no chance, and you just get the tippers to just extend your advantage state forever. Like, if you watch Vibe, for example, like, he's just perfect at spacing everything he does, so that every advantage state he gets is just leads to a kill.
Yeah, I mean, I will argue that there's a decent amount when it comes to Clairen, where some Clarens will look to space well enough, and they focus more on the timings, and there's other Clarens that just simply focus on the spacing itself, and just have it in the perfect position every time, regardless of, whether or not it's the right timing here and there. RX seems to be a bit in between the two, right? Not super heavily focusing on either one. These F-Strongs have been perfectly timed, but every single one of the other tippers is all about that spacing.
Yeah. I mean, like, a lot of the F-Strongs that he's been getting mileage with have not been tippers. Like, he's landed a few, like, very, very good tippers, which have been super beneficial to him. But, I mean, if you can just hit the F-Strong, like, at some point, if they're off stage and you can land the edge guard, either rinse and repeat or just like an actual Clairen edge guard, it doesn't really matter whether you hit the tipper or not. Just that they're off stage in the first place.
In the meantime, Lily no longer going to be coming out, as RX has continued to use Lily for these counters. Lone's still trying to get that big early hit, And this could be it. Looking for a tether opportunity.
Oh, almost hitting with that back throw F strong. That's such a scary option whenever Clairen does it. I know sometimes people refer to Clairen as a grappler because of it, but great stock with the get up attack from low.
Yeah, I mean, that actually sent so much further than I anticipated there. And RX now a stock down, but we saw this in game number 2 there, where Lone got the early stock, didn't actually turn into too much more. Now, the question is, can Lone run away with this a little bit more?
Yeah, he's really going to have to... Ooh, okay. Yeah, that back throw F smash is going to take it. But yeah, Lone just needs to secure these kills. Like, that's really what he hasn't been doing. Like, he hasn't been able to get some of the early cheese kills that are his strength. Like, in previous R2AS, it's like, he's been able to just get these stocks at 40 off of various edge guards or, like, tether setups. Here, they're just not manifesting.
Yeah, thankfully for him, we are on Aramata, you know, the stage of the cheesers, where we see so many of these early kills come on through, especially if you can land a tether fair, but double down strong, actually. RX was expecting something like a down tilt forward air, something like, you know, and a reseed F tilt, but instead it's just going to be straight towards that blast zone.
Yeah, I know Lone likes doing the side B follow-up to the wrap as well. Ooh, charging up that neutral B. Interesting option, but ends up working out as Lone is forced to do an awkward angle back on stage and gets punished by that knockdown strong.
Yeah, but in the end, it's going to even up in terms of that stock count. Lone needs to keep his wits about him, just needs to not overcommit to going straight forward, because it was so much more defensive earlier, and now Lone getting a little bit more overzealous with things.
Yeah, you really gotta mentally stay in the game here too. Like, it can be really hard to just be down 2-0 and at last stock like this. Like, it's really tough to keep your composure, find the openings that you need to, and just like claw your way back into the set.
Yeah, we haven't seen Lily placed a single time since that first stock, and right now RX could be looking for the full stock. Forward strong not gonna take it.
Yeah, with that up strong, but Lone failed to take advantage of it. Let's see. This is definitely a scrap. But
throw to start.
That tipper bear near the top blast zone is always very scary.
Yeah, and we've gotten to the position where Clairen can just start fishing for back air. As long as the back air tippers, it's essentially going to be a kill at this rate. But Lone still very much in this, just needs that one opening, that one hit to start it off.
Yeah, needs that like F tilt into tether, like nair or something, tether fair, just anything. But now he doesn't even have mark. Got to reset. Okay. Oh, we got the raid
thankfully.
From Zeus to Goose too. Close.
Right, Uppy's back to that ledge, able to grab on, hold of it. RX right now just needs that one big hit, and Lone still not going to be able to reach the stage.
Yeah.
Quits on out.
That's
and
tough.
RX with a 3-0 in winners semis, going to be moving on to winners finals.
Yeah, that was crazy to see it from RX. Like, Lone was certainly the favorite heading into it, but wow, RX just tearing a wave of upsets through this bracket.